Yes, legends, how's everybody doing? Hope you're doing fantastic and you have a great Friday so far and you're going to get a fantastic weekend ahead of you. Let's analyze the situation here for the price of Bitcoin. Let's get a preparation on levels and scenarios that could happen throughout the next coming hours and the next coming days, guys. Make sure to destroy that like button if you do enjoy the content. And let's dive in right away to say hello to the beautiful community, okay? And see what is going on here with the price of Bitcoin, guys, okay? Smash it up if you do enjoy the content, guys. If you do see some value, some education, some possible scenarios that I'm looking at, make sure to share some love, okay? You lazy boogers. First of all, big disclaimer, guys. The content is for educational purposes only and is not financial advice, okay? Make sure to realize that. Just a crazy dude in the internet on YouTube that is just giving his opinion, okay? Let's go right away through the comment section. And sorry for being late, guys. I've been having some issues with the mic. Staffer1, much love, my man. Happy Friday to you, brother. Slap the like button, lovely people, says Staffer1. Much love, my man. Thank you very much for joining. Good morning, Brian. Toddy, hello, friend. Hello, my man. Hope you're doing well. Jack, J Jack. Hi, Andy and legends. Much love to everybody here in the comment section. Let me know if you can hear me, if you can see me. Man, this microphone is a little bit wonky, a little bit funky. Good evening in my country, India. Tutin, much love from India. Got a few people from India. Much love to you. Staffer1. Guys, let's analyze the situation. Do you use SMC? Yes, I do. Friday dump before trap. Andy, I have messaged you. No worries, my man. I will check your message, okay? What's up, Andy? This naked bear. Much love to you. Is this fair value gap likely to get filled before the next impulse move? Maybe yes, we'll be analyzing. Andy, you are the best. Will you do Christmas giveaway? Why not? Maybe yes. Why not? That's a good option. We'll probably do a Christmas giveaway. Good morning from Egypt. Much love. Let's analyze the situation here, guys. I am the editor. My handle, Olive. Okay, I will see that. Love from India. Much love to everybody here, okay? Let's analyze the situation. Take a look at liquidity. We've got a bit of punchy liquidity to the upside above $95,000. That is interesting to take into consideration, right? Because, you know, we all see this as a, you know, bear flag, right? That's the general view that we have on the chart. It's a bear flag, mate, right? And we'll end up breaking down. Well, there are some bullish scenarios. There are some local bullish scenarios that takes us to higher levels and then gets the possible correction, because the bullish case scenario that takes us to much higher levels just by nature of this move has lower probabilities, okay? The breakout continuation has low probabilities, all right? And this is what you need to understand when you do technical analysis and you're a trader and you understand, you know, what are the probabilities, right? Zooming out. You need to zoom out a little bit and understand the probabilities. And you need to basically know why there is low probabilities, right? And this is why we're here to explain why breaking out successfully. I am a fan of getting another leg to the upside, but I'm not a fan of getting big continuation up, getting above $100,000 and beyond that throughout the next couple of weeks. And I am more in favor about moving down, all right, in the next coming weeks, guys. Okay, first of all, that's my personal opinion. I can explain why do I have that bias on the higher time frame based on this structure, okay? Based on this movement to the upside. And let's cover the main big bullish scenario, right? The main big bullish scenario, which would be multiple 1-2s. Multiple 1-2s, right? Gearing up for the explosive move to the upside that has low probabilities. This is an unlikely scenario that could happen. However, we could get above $95,000 and then roll over, right? A lot of resistance in this zone, and I can explain how the price could get up there, right? There's a few options. Nobody knows which one's going to happen, but we have a few options on how the price could move up there. And depending on how it moves up there, I will know what I'm looking for to take a potential short position. Now, when we do take a look at what happens with multiple 1-2s, you like to see, right, the second and the third 1-2 getting smaller in price action and time before you get the third wave up and continue with 4-5, 4-5, right? That's what you want to see. That's the most common way to build up multiple 1-2s. Your wave 2s that come after the first one are usually smaller, as you can see with this price action that we had in October of 2024. So that's the main problem that we do have here, legends. Okay, that's the main issue that we have with the multiple 1-2 setup here. Okay, the main reason we can count a wave 1 from here, there is a valid count, okay, for this to be an impulse. There's several ways. We can have an extended wave 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. That's all okay. Then the next one was very clear impulsive, right? We can see that right over here. Boom, 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 right? There's a 5 wavy move here. Now, what we can not see is a clear impulse here. That's not an impulse. So if this is not an impulse, we cannot count this as a wave 1. And the only way we could count this as the wave 1, is that all of this is a sideways complex corrective structure. That means that if this is going to be a double 1-2, your second wave 1 is this one, and your second wave 2 is all of this. And that means that this second wave 2 is larger in time than the first wave 2, right? Just some interesting facts that we want to get clear here on the higher time frame, right? And having your second wave 2 double the price even more than your first wave 2 is low probability, meaning that a third wave breakout in the next coming weeks to go to much higher prices is low probability, guys. Okay, that's something that we need to understand. I understand it. Do you understand it? I hope you do, right? Because there's people that might just say that it's very, very bullish and we're going to go so high that it's going to blow your socks off. Well, we do know that the possibility is there. However, it doesn't carry the highest probability based on time. So that's something that, you know, we put in our notebook, right? I got a notebook here, which I say double 1-2 on the higher time frame. Not the favorite option, carries low percentage probability, and I understand that. That's the first thing about the most bullish case scenario. So now let's go through the other options, which look more interesting, which was covered in today's video update, which didn't get too much love, guys. Come on, guys. We need to watch that video. You know, this takes time, and if this is not going to be, if I don't get any attention on these videos, I will stop. Okay, so it's important the people that really, really like it, that do continue, right, watching, because if not, it's over, guys, right? It's been a great journey here, but I'm already giving those hints. So I'm trying to do my best to cover the education, to cover the probabilities, and cover the levels, and the possible opportunities that I do see, which a lot of them do kind of play out. There are some eventually, we can't be 100% right. It's impossible to be 100% right. But if you are right, 70 to 80% of the times, that, that's where you gain, right? Being wrong 20, 30% of the times is totally okay, right? When we do take a look at the previous ranges and the previous scenarios, right now where we at, I'm kind of not too interested with this price action. It's a bit confusing, this move down, okay? So I have several options on the higher time frame as explained in today's video update, which I'm just going to remain patient, okay? I'm not going to get into any trade where I do not have advantage and do not have high probability movements, okay? That's what you do as a trader, guys. Right? I know a lot of people want to trade now, or want to get in now. You will need to be responsible with your trades. And that's what we try and teach here. Understanding the probability movements. Throughout the last few days, I mean, we've catched a bit of a few high probability movements. Just a couple of days ago, the probabilities of not taking out this high, even though we were very close, which I had to come on the next video update and said, guys, I was wrong. If we would have moved up here, I'm very good at saying, the probability side that I did talk about, which was forming a lower high, played out, right? Which is this one right over here, right? It could get very, very punchy. I've seen it before. It could almost take out the high, hitting the 7.8, the point of control, even the 0.88, just as a nasty touch, and then roll back down. The probabilities were higher throughout the FOMC meeting, so he could have said whatever he wants, right? That the technical analysis was in my favor, right? The movement was well predicted based on the information that we had on the chart, forming a lower high. We never know exactly which one is going to be the level of resistance, because we talked about the point of control. We talked about the golden pocket. We talked about, guys, it might even push up above 94K and then break down below 90K, right? So sometimes we can spot the highest probability movements. We just need a bit of information. With that information, I can crack the code, right? I need information. If I cannot crack the code with the information that I have locally here, I will wait for future information where I can crack the code, where I can get into a very high probability position. Just a few days before that, we had this information right over here. And with this information, without counting this price action, we had a few speculations here. Either the flat, either a triangle, okay? But the probabilities were leaning higher to take out $94,000 rather than breaking down here. And that was pointed out in a video update also a few days before the FOMC, where we're looking at, okay, we could form some kind of a triangle, right? These are only polylines that we could actually, speculate on a triangle formation here based on the information that we have on the chart, right? And this was, way in advance before getting that triangle formation, which was this one right over here, right? Just to let you know that there are ways in predicting the movements of the market, right? And that's what we're here for. We are here to look for the predictions and a few scenarios, and eventually you will lean on one scenario that has the highest probability, and then that's the one that you want to trade, right? Successfully. So looking back on the higher time frame, the multiple 1-2s have lower probability based on timing as explained, right? This is too long, so that's not looking too great for this to be a double 1-2, okay, to blast off low probability, and you need to understand that. Could it happen? Eventually, yes, but we would have to see some clear start of an impulsive structure here, all right, which we do not have at the moment, unfortunately, so it's not too clear. However, there are a few patterns that could develop, that are developing, all right? And we got some interesting information throughout the last few days that we could have an extended triangle in this momentum. And that gives us a few options. We have this option right over here. This is all explained in today's video update, but any, just for the live stream here, going through the comment section, we can take a look at 15-minute time frame. Okay. Thanks for the videos, Andy. Josh, much love to you, my man. The viewers will come back in the bull market. It doesn't matter. We are here to long, short, right? We talk about short. We talk, it's not about bull market, right? It's when we are in bear market and in rangy structure, we don't go up. Right, we can short the market as well, right? There's shorting scenarios that we discuss, right? I know most of the people are hodlers, right? And they see trading as very risky, but if you manage risk and you know how to position yourself, it is very, very lucrative. And if you know how to, right? And just be patient. I'm a very, very patient trader, and I hope that the people do see that on streams, right? I'm still just holding that long position. I'm in no local trades at the moment. I don't need to trade every single movement. The more I trade, the more chances I have in losing. Did you know that? Do you know that the more times you trade, the more chances you have in losing instead of winning? You can test that. Try and trade a lot every single day. I can guarantee you that you will go down the toilet. It's just the nature of trading. You need to be very, very professional, very technical, understanding the probability side of the market. And the sooner you get that, and you see, the more patient trader you are, the more profitable you're going to be in the long term. So, different movements that I see developing now. But this is an interesting take, because we were squeezing here. We formed a higher low, and we got a bit of a mixed price action here, which I'm not too fond about, being this a clear impulse down. And for the moment, this is not a clear impulse up. You had a kind of a little 1-2, and then the third wave, and that's it, and you're just ranging. So I'm happy to say that this could be a 3-waver, and this could also be a 3-waver. So with that price action, which looks very, very messy, I can come with some ideas here. One idea is this one, where you have a zigzag up, okay? A zigzag to the upside. I'm just checking here the connection, just checking here a few things. Okay, one scenario is that zigzag up in a wave W, zigzag down in wave X. The problem here is a little bit of time. Your wave Y is extending a little bit in time, but I have to say it's a very valid option. Impulsive move up in your wave A, and a triangle formation, running triangle. A running triangle, your B wave can get above the start of A wave, this A wave right over here. That's called a running triangle. There's a regular triangle where you have your A, B, C, D, E. Okay, and then you have your running triangle, which the B wave gets above your A wave start. Okay, that's a running triangle. So this is a valid option. Then there's the barrier triangle, of course, which forms the lows, almost getting to the lows here, lower highs and getting to the lows, but that's very, very rare, a very, very rare triangle. So now that we've had this movement down and this bounce, we could form a lower high in this region, and we could form a higher low in this zone. Your invalidation for this is taking out this low. And it's interesting because it is forming a bit of a triangle-y movement, higher lows and lower highs. Okay, it is interesting without a doubt. And there's only 5 waves in a triangle. This is something that you need to understand as well. There's only 5 waves in a triangle when you zoom out. Of course, on the 15-minute time frame, you might see too much noise. Sometimes you need to zoom out at the 1 hourly or 4 hourly and understand a little bit of the waves, right? And the pivots, right? Major pivots. The main reason we're not counting this pivot because it was a low high, right? From this one. So you have this high, this low, this we are considering a flat triangle and movement up. So it turns out to be a 3-wave move. But as you know, that's getting more into the complex scenarios here. We have a low, we have a high, we have a higher low, and we could be forming a lower high in this region. Very possible, as long as we don't take out 94.6. This movement down is going to be very, very, very interesting. Very, very interesting. And the weekend is coming up, and we know what happens usually on the weekends. It's very boring, very choppy. You might get a movement of $1,000, maybe $2,000, which is the most common thing. And this is perfect for this to be a corrective structure to then move to the upside. Maybe Sunday. We've seen a few Sundays where we pump, right? And we create a CME gap, right? How common has that been throughout the last few weeks, last few months, right? We're pumping on Sunday. Don't trust the Sunday pump because we're leaving a CME gap, right? And well, that's literally what we could be seeing at the moment. That's interesting because we did get a pump throughout the last 24 hours, which is good. It's good for a possible Sunday evening breakout. We've seen many Sunday pumps throughout the last couple of months. Maybe we get another one, right? What is common for the weekend is to form a bit of a rangy structure. It doesn't mean, I mean, it's common, right? We like to look at common things, right? When we trade and we analyze, what is more common to happen, this or that? Well, if you know that this is more common, then you prefer the common scenario, right? So it's common to see a range and a corrective structure throughout the weekend. And this will be very interesting because, you know, if we do get that Friday dump, Friday is very well known to get a little dump, right? And then we range throughout the weekend and we create some overlapping structure. If we can detect this being corrective and it's very choppy, right? No major 1-2s, no major impulse down, and we have our leg to the upside, we can fit in a triangle structure in this zone. And that means that there is a good chance that we form a higher low, do not take out 89K, and we take the 94.6K high. This is a very, very interesting scenario. Very, very interesting. Now, of course, this breakout to the upside, in this case, we would look for an impulsive move to the upside, potentially to get to $96,000, $97,000, right? Around about that range. I think that's a, you know, realistic projection that we could get throughout Sunday evening. I like this scenario. I think it's a scenario that has a very, very good chance to happen. Okay, so, but it all has to do with the range that we form in the weekend, and that's where I'm going to take action. Okay, we'll dive in through the 15-minute time frame and explain a little bit how the price action needs to develop. But that's a good scenario. The good thing is that we have another type of a triangle here. Regardless, it's the same scenario. However, your wave W is different and your wave Y is different, okay? Instead of finishing your wave Y here, you finish here because you have a valid zigzag structure, I have to say, from here. Also, maybe your triangle is your wave X instead of finishing wave X here, right? As the previous scenario. The triangle is the same. The triangle points out a movement to the upside after moving down, but it's super important to detect that range, and the weekend is the best option, the best days to actually form a rangy corrective scenario. So let's see if we do get a little bit of downside on a Friday evening and then chop around here between 90K and 91K. That would be the ideal zone to then maybe speculate, right, on a possible move to the upside. So I'm just waiting patiently for this scenario, right? This is a plan. I know what I'm looking for. I know what is common for the weekend. We could move down into this zone if we see choppy scenarios. So we get, you know, a little bit of an aggressive move down maybe throughout Friday, but then it ends up, you know, bouncing and ranging. I will be highly anticipating this to be corrective, okay? And a completed triangle. Remember, a triangle has 5 waves, and this could be the last wave down forming a higher low from 89.2k. It is very, very possible, right? So we just need to be patient and see a bit of information and a bit of choppiness. That's the only information that we need to see, right? Range, move down, bounce back up, right? And the weekend ends up still inside of the triangle where we can, if we can detect a low here, it's going to be very interesting to detect the movements to the upside. And if we do get some corrective moves here, because, you know, what we could expect eventually is that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? Sunday pump. Let's see. It's an option. We need a bit of information here, right, on the lower time frame throughout the next coming days. That's not considering levels. There's not many levels here. We're just very rangy up and down. So there's not major. We can go through the levels later on. We got a contracting diagonal, which is, you know, I would say this scenario also leans very much with the triangle scenario. This leans that, you know, this could be a higher low. You could form a higher low in this region, and you end up with a three-wave move to the upside that takes out $95,000, right? So this scenario, they all kind of squeeze together into the same scenarios. Okay, there is that liquidity, there's that disturbing liquidity that is up there as well, right? Above 95k. You know, there's a few hundred million in short liquidations up there, and the general idea that this is a bear flag and it's going to end up breaking down. A lot of people are interested in shorting here. This is why we got a liquidity pocket in the zone. So that, you know, a lot of the scenarios that I have here for you are pointing out that we still form a higher low here and take out 95k, which is interesting, right? So that's there for the moment locally, right? The very bullish scenario has a low probability, but taking out here $95,000 instead of $89,000 looks nicer. It looks nicer. Now, when we consider this a diagonal, what you need in a leading diagonal or an ending diagonal, you need a 3-3-3. You got the leading diagonal of 5-3-5-3-5. This would be a 3-3-3-3-3, where your wave 1 is a 3-wave move, your wave 2 is a 3-wave move, your wave 3, this is impulsive, but because you created another high, this is your 3-wave move. That's your 3-wave move for the diagonal. And this potentially was your 3-wave move for your wave 4. And you know what is interesting? Your wave 4 in a contracting diagonal is smaller, not only in price action, but in time. Okay, so it's perfect for a wave 4, right? In a contracting diagonal, this. When you compare it to your wave 2, this is exactly what you want to see in a contracting diagonal. With that said, as this is a 3-3-3-3 contracting diagonal, you want to see a 3-wave move to the upside to finish your 5th wave. As you can see here, what we mentioned about the different scenarios, they you know, these other scenarios point out as well for a dip and a move up. A dip and a move up. This one, a dip and a move up. So all of these different scenarios combine very, very well. They do combine very, very well. There is a bearish case scenario eventually, which we just get a volatile, big move, big dump on Friday, right? And we end up getting below $89,000. There is that possibility, but I'm not interested in that scenario. I'm not interested in you know, speculating on anything here at the moment with the information that I have here. I explained this in today's video update. You know, this is a bit of a confusing move down. It is a bit of a confusing move down because you have a valid 1, ABC flat 2, 3, 4, and 5. There is a valid 5-wave structure, even though it doesn't look too good. there is a valid 5-wave move down here. But there is also a valid 3-wave move to the downside, because this wave 4 can be from this wave down, okay? Because you have a one small consolidation, you can label it as a wave 2, your wave 3, 4, and 5. And this would be obviously a C wave, the B wave, and the A wave. Remember, your B wave, we're looking at a flat here. So this is possibly a 3-way structure, unfortunately, guys. You know, sometimes the waves are not going to play ball, and it's going to give you a tricky movement, which for the elite wave analysts, you know, are gonna struggle a little bit, right? Because they have 2 valid counts. So that's something that I consider, and this is why I'm not that interested in doing anything right now where we at. Okay. What I would like to see, as explained, and it doesn't mean that the price needs to do that, but I know it could, is get more of a rangy bit of a pullback scenario throughout the weekend, right? Saturday, Sunday. So I can label this as a corrective move where I know there's high probability on that pop out. Maybe Sunday evening, maybe entering into Monday. That's a move that I know I will have high probability and I can position myself. Okay, so I mean, it's just I need that information. I need that choppiness. I need that rangy. I need the Friday dump, and then the, you know, pumpy action and a rangy structure. You know, it's you know, and we have many scenarios that point out that, you know, we could be forming a higher low in this region. Those are the local bullish case scenarios. Obviously, the contracting diagonal is looking for a significant dump throughout the, you know, maybe next week at some point, if we pump all the way up to $97,000. I will be interested in looking for shorts at 97K zone. I will be very interested in looking for shorts at that area, depending on how we move up there. What I need to see the price action moving up from this point, right? If we form that range here, boom, boom, boom. I'm interested in longs. I will want to get into a long position depending on how we move. And depending on how we move here, if we do get up to 95, 96, maybe 97 plus, right? In that area where we have a lot of resistance from this block that we have right over here. We've got some major lower highs, right? This is interesting to take into consideration because people might think, well, this is a big fat nothing area. Well, the pivot highs do get, you know, you do create swing failure patterns, right? From those pivot highs. We created a swing failure pattern here, which we did talk about. It's a very valid short based on the information that we had here. We understood that this could be a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And the 5th wave is the one you want to get into a short. We explained this in detail days in advance. Right, the swing failure pattern from that lower high. I've got many videos talking about it in this range. So the main reason I point this out, this little block that we have here, right? We as analysts, we look for common things, right? We look for common scenarios, right? We've got a nice blocky range here with some lower highs. What happened? Swing failure pattern. What happened? Swing failure pattern. Right? We didn't even cross this zone. Funny enough, we got the yearly open here as well. The 2025 yearly open is at 93,300. We're struggling so much to get above the yearly open. 2025 opened at 93,350. You're struggling to get above that level, above the yearly open. Which is interesting throughout the last few weeks. So with my point here, hang on a minute, probably a little bit in the way. With my point, you know, this is a very, very interesting little block that we have. You know, this block, without a doubt, got some resistance, got some SFPs. This block right over here, I will only treat it the same way. I will only treat it the same way. When we pump, I'm not interested in more upside. I'm interested in shorting the highs, right? That's what we should do, right? You want to short the pumps. Don't be like, this is bullish, we're going up. Yeah, this is reversal areas. This is a reversal zone. We've got some pointer controls also there. This is a reversal area. This is a reversal zone. So 96 to 97 is going to be very, very interesting to see how price action develops there. You get a bit of choppiness at the block highs. Yeah, we're looking for a pullback. We move up. However we move up there, we're going to have to study a little bit of the exhaustion. This is a double, triple top zone where I am looking for shorts. Okay, and that's just coming with the theory of this block, lower highs. Same theory with this block, lower highs after the fair value gap that we have in this zone from the higher time frame. It's just an interesting, very interesting area. When we combine Elliott wave theory, we have the contracting diagonal. It's perfect to struggle to get above this zone. We have the other scenarios as well to struggle at the same area. Maybe on the first, you got this one right over here, which can overshoot this area, because if you're looking for this to be a zigzag, and we're looking for another zigzag here, however, your B wave, would be a triangle. So A wave needs to be an impulse. C wave needs to be an impulse as well. So then there is that possibility that the wave 3 is going to overshoot a little bit this zone. Right, and you're literally looking for an impulsive move in total here. So we're gonna have to look for the scenarios. Obviously, we'd need that B wave 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right, kind of thing. So that's what a little bit, the zone, interesting area. We need to analyze the waves in the 15-minute, 1 hourly time frame to try and detect, that fifth wave formation. Yeah, so that's basically a bearish case scenario. I have my doubts about the bearish case, but you always need to have a bearish case scenario, which would be this one right over here. I mean, there's this other scenario, but it's literally mimicking the, you have a flat in your wave X. That is also a possibility. You got wave W, which is the same, and instead of a triangle here, you literally have a ABC flat, because there is a way of counting a 5 wave move down in this zone. Very valid running flat, even though they're just uncommon, but still, something to take into consideration, because you have a valid 5 wave move down here, which can complete a flat structure, running flat in this case. This is same thing. However, what you would be looking at here is a larger zigzag up here throughout the next coming 1 to 2 weeks, next week or so, price action. Very similar movements. They're all that lean to the upside as well. The bearish case is this one right over here, which I have to say, this does not look too phenomenal. It doesn't look too phenomenal, but I'm in favor, as mentioned at the beginning of the stream, to take out again 94.6, right? Getting finally above 95k, maybe 96, 97. I am in favor of local bullish price action. However, I'm in favor of failing to move to higher levels and rolling over instead of getting the successful breakout. Okay? So higher time frame bearish, lower time frame take out 95k, maybe 96, 97. We're going to have to see how we move up. Just going to have to wait patiently, right, till we get to those levels to see how the price develops. Yeah, that's basically it. Lower time frame bullish to take out this high instead of this low. Higher time frame, I do see the price struggling very, very much in this area to finally roll over. However, we need to, map the situation as the information comes to us. Okay, so hopefully you've enjoyed a bit of that explanation here, legends. But yeah, anyway, the bearish case, just because this is a very dodgy 5-wave move down, and this is a very spiky move to the upside, I'm leaning that this scenario has low probability. Finished WXY, there is a valid, very valid count. But with the information that I have from the last few days, I am not giving it the highest probability. I don't like this 5-wave move to the downside, and it looks better as a 3-wave corrective move down, giving me a higher probability that $95,000 is likely to be taken before taking out 89.2. And that's with the current information that I have on the chart. Could the price have a zigzag down here, corrective structure, another zigzag down, correction, zigzag down, and you form a contracting diagonal, and all of this is an ABC flat, and your C wave is just a 5-wave structure in a contracting diagonal? I don't even want to talk about contracting diagonals at this point when you're in, your possible wave 2. We need a wave 4 in at least in this contracting diagonal, because this is like speculating on too many waves and too much information. But if we were to move like this in the next coming days, I would be bullish. I would be looking for longs in this zone. That's obviously sweeping up these lows and coming to major levels of support here, which we do have point of control. We've got a daily level. We've got a nice bounce on the daily level. Whoever maintained that long on the daily level yesterday, I mean, it's not a major move, but I mean, at least it was a $2,000-$3,000 move. Not an easy one, but shorts were not. We did get a first rejection, then we pumped very aggressively here, so no major reactions on the flat scenarios. But yeah, this would be a very interesting take if we were to develop a little squeezing contracting diagonal here, a descending wedge, because there's a very valid way of counting this as a flat if you move in a contracting diagonal. But we need to get the contracting diagonal, right? We need the wave 3 when we need the wave 4. And once we have this, then we know that this last dip is going to be interesting. If we move down here, form a, sweep up these lows, right, throughout today and tomorrow, then get the relief rally throughout Saturday, start of Sunday dump, and then, end of Sunday entering into Monday. This is going to be very, very interesting to look for longs, right? If we form this, then I'll say, yeah, guys, this is actually pretty damn good. We got a zigzag up, we got a flat here, and then what we would be looking for is another zigzag to the upside, to the 96, 97, right? So, I mean, longs are still very, very lucrative here, even though this does look like a bear flag, right? It's all understanding on the probabilities of with the information that we have locally in the last few days. I can tell you already, the probabilities, are actually pretty high to take out 95K. Not only that, we do have some decent liquidity up there. So, yeah, Elliott wave scenarios point out there's higher probability to go up. And we do have a lot of shorters that need to be swept out of the market. So, even though this does look like a bear flag, right, on the higher time frame, but when will this bear flag break down? That's the question, right? That's the question that most do not have the answer. So, and we try to figure out the answer here, right, on the charts based on the information that we have. So yeah, anyway, that's a little bit of the scenarios, guys. Hope you enjoyed the live stream. Make sure to enjoy Friday. Remember, guys, you got Velto, which is an awesome decentralized platform. Okay, the fees are very competitive, guys. Check out the link down below. 0% maker fee, 0.02% taker fee. This is actually lower from a lot of centralized exchanges, and you have full custody of your funds. No middleman, no centralization. decentralized platform, guys. Absolutely awesome, guys. Check it out. Okay, I've been testing it out throughout the last few weeks. I will trade more there in the next coming, weeks and months. Obviously, we do have Bluffin. I still obviously trade heavily on Bluffin. I used to trade a lot on Bybit, but Bluffin is one of a very, very, one of the biggest at the moment now. Obviously, you got Bybit and Binance, but Bluffin is very, very good, and you get some great perks down below in the description as well, guys. Okay, with Bluffin, check out the deal that you have once you sign up with the link down below. So yeah, just wanted to point that out, and hopefully you've enjoyed a little bit of the higher time frame analysis. Not much to discuss, a little bit of too much noise here. Very noisy chart. I'm not interested in doing anything here, guys. If I'm honest, I'm looking for those movements that I've explained and those zones that are looking interesting for me to take a trading decision. Oh, there we go. Thank you. Incoming all-time high by the end of the month. I would be skeptical. Good morning to all. Jamie, much love to you guys. Hope you enjoy your weekend. Hope you have a rest from the charts. No rush. Okay. And is today bullish? Today is a very choppy range, and with the information that we have, it's not that clear. Okay, we've had some major clear scenarios throughout the last few days. Lower high was a probability here throughout the FOMC meeting, and we also had this WXY speculation of a triangle to pop out above $94,000, which happened, right? We took out those highs. So yeah, let's wait for a bit more information. The weekend's coming up. Make sure to enjoy your weekend. Make sure to destroy the like button. Make sure to leave a comment afterwards. I need to see the people enjoying the content. If not, it's over, guys. Okay? It's now more than ever that I need to see people very, very grateful about the content. Around views, use the affiliate links as well to support the channel. Smash up the likes. Thank you very much for joining, and I'll see you in the next one.